Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. The garden route in South Africa is arguably the most beautiful part of the entire country. It's located right at the bottom in the Western Cape, and it's a 300-kilometer long coastal route that runs from Mossel Bay all the way through to Storms River in the Tsitsikamma National Park. And it's made up of woodlands, wetlands, mountains, lakes and beaches dotted all the way along the route. And you can easily take weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on your pace, depending on the time you have, to work your way along the garden route, stopping at various points and just enjoying the local delights, the culture, and also the food. I'm going to be focused on an area that's towards the end of the garden route. It's an area called Plettenberg Bay. Known locally as Plet, it's also the jewel of the garden route because of the climate and also the indigenous flora and fauna around the area. So think, for example, your fynbos that I've spoken about before. And fynbos is a major tourist attraction in its own right for South Africa. Plet is also an area, together with Knysna, 20 kilometers away, where some of the wealthiest, the most affluent South Africans will typically buy weekend or holiday homes. You get a lot of international foreigners also investing in holiday homes between Plet and Knysna. And the two areas compete like for like with your international equivalents. Think, for example, the Hamptons, you have Palm Springs in the United States of America, you have Verbier Andermatt in Switzerland, and you also have Gloucestershire and the Cotswolds in the United Kingdom, for example. And they compete like for like when it comes to the spectacular aesthetics, the build quality, and also the interiors of the properties. There's a lodge called Tsala Treetop Lodge that's located about 10 kilometers from Plet, and it's a superb place to locate yourself to enjoy everything that Plet has to offer, the bars, the restaurants, the chic boutiques, for example. But it's also a secluded lodge where you can go there for some much needed rest, relaxation, and just enjoy the peace, the quiet, and the lush verdant vegetation all around. This video is part of Tembea Afrika, where I showcase some of the most spectacular luxury resorts on the African continent. When I'm not traveling for all my sins, I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things, whether you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying quality from the get-go, or you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on quality under the radar brands, then my content is geared towards you. There are a number of ways to get to Tsala. You can either fly to George, and then it's a 1.5 hour drive to Tsala, Port Elizabeth, 2.5 hours to Tsala, or you can fly to Plettenberg Bay Airport, and that's 20 minutes away from Tsala. If you're going to fly privately to Tsala, Plettenberg Bay Airport is the airport that you would use. Or you have a solid 6-hour drive from Cape Town, and that is what I did. I didn't have the option of being able to drive and stop for a couple of days along the route. Time was not on my side, and therefore I did it in one day, but it was an enjoyable 6-hour drive. The first 3 hours of the drive, you are driving through the Cape Winelands, another major tourist attraction for South Africa. So you're spoiled for choice when it comes to wine farms where you can stop for lunch, a glass of wine before proceeding. After the wine farms, you have a number of farms dotted along the route, offering your farm to table concept of dining. So you're getting really wholesome, flavorful meals. And then the third option is you can use a tour guide. You get tour guides who offer tours of the garden route and also double up as drivers. So they are able to pace the trip, they can recommend where to stay, what to do, where to go, and so forth. You literally sit back enjoy the ride and the scenery. But regardless of how you get to Tsala, once you turn off from the main road and you're heading directly to Tsala, it becomes increasingly evident just how secluded and also quiet Tsala is. By the time you arrive at the entrance of the lodge, it's absolutely quiet. You could literally hear a pin drop, and the only sound you hear is occasional birdsong. You're warmly welcomed by management who show you through to reception. You're offered drinks, you fill out the necessary paperwork, and once that's done, you're then shown the restaurant where you have a guaranteed reservation for the entire duration of your stay, and you're also shown the alfresco dining and bar spaces. Tsala is not a place where you go for an abundance of activities. There isn't anything to do immediately around Tsala, but they can organize a lot of things in and around the Plettenberg area. What they have at Tsala is a spa, so you can book treatments, and they also have a chapel, so you could get married at Tsala. It has the capacity for 50 guests, and they also have a total of 16 rooms at Tsala. 10 are suites and 6 villas, so you could have all your guests, your friends and family accommodated comfortably at Tsala. So once check-in is done and you're shown the dining facilities, you're then taken through to your room. I stayed in a suite. All the rooms are self-contained and incredibly discreetly tucked away. You will not see or hear other guests around Tsala. The only time you will hear or see guests is either in the restaurant if you're dining at the same time, or you're using the communal walkway at the same time. The rooms are all self-contained, all treetop, and surrounded by lush, verdant vegetation, and incredibly quiet with the exception of just birdsong. The suite I stayed in, you come in, there's decking in front of you, and then to the right, sun lounges and a plunge pool. And then you walk into the suite, living space in front of you, you have a big sofa, you have the mini bar, there's a desk in front of you, and then there's the fireplace to the left, which is functional. You can get fires lit whenever you request. And then in front of you, you have a balcony with seating space. Absolutely perfect for sundowners at the end of the day, or just an intimate dinner date. And then to the left, you veer off to the bedroom. The decor is all rustic, and the inside very much complements the outside in terms of the colors. You have greens, you have browns, you have beiges, the nature outside playing off the colors and the style of decor, the rustic decor on the inside. Bed is a big king-size bed, floor to ceiling window, and then in front of you again the lush vegetation, all treetop property, so you have that illusion of being almost like a cloud. You're on top, floating on top of the vegetation. And then behind the bedroom you have the bathroom, big signature bathtub in the middle. You have 2 sinks, a separate water closet, and then 2 showers, one indoors and one outdoors. As I mentioned earlier, all the rooms are self-contained. The first day I was there, I literally spent the entire day enjoying the room, the peace and quiet. You can have meals brought in. You have breakfast, you have lunch outside by the plunge pool, sitting on the sun lounges, and then the evening meal, sundowners, balcony out in the front. I would highly recommend Tsala for people who just want rest and relaxation, somewhere absolutely quiet. The service is friendly, it's attentive. You're somewhere comfortable, somewhere well put together, well thought out, and you can rest, relax, and just recharge. Someone wanting somewhere quiet for their honeymoon, where they can relax and catch up and reminisce about their day, or a wedding, as I mentioned, they have the chapel, so you can have your guests, your family, your friends, all there and staying with you at Tsala. But it's a place for me that's very much about self-care, where you just want to switch off from the world in a place that's quiet, that's well put together, great service, and fantastic food and wine. 2 minutes away from Tsala, there's another property part of the same group, Hunter Hotels. It's a place called Hunter's Country House, and they also have another restaurant. So if you're staying at Tsala for more than a couple of days, I would highly recommend having dinner at Zinzi. Zinzi is very similar to the Tsala restaurant in that they are focused on farm to table dining. The fresh herbs, the vegetables are all grown on site, and then they source everything else locally. So it's very much a fresh, local, seasonal menu that's constantly changing, and the focus is just on good quality food and high quality cooking. On your way to Zinzi, they have a great big open green space. They can organize a picnic for you, and you can spend the day out sitting on the grounds, relaxing. You can read, walk around the grounds. You also have a big pond. And the green space also means you could host an event, have a wedding out there, and they erect a marquee in the grounds. And then, of course, Zinzi. In terms of activities, as I mentioned, there isn't anything immediately around Tsala, but there's a lot of different activities they can organize for you, whether it's high energy, high jinks, or just low key. There's something for everyone, from horse riding to paragliding, depending on the weather. You can go quad biking. You also have the option to attend a number of the free roaming sanctuaries. So you have, for example, Jukani, where they have cheetahs, leopards, lions, zebras, springbok, pumas, jaguars, for example. And then you also have Monkeyland, and then you also have Birds of Eden. Birds of Eden has over 200 species of birds. It's a massive free-flying space that mimics a natural space for birds. Great for children because it gives them a chance to see the birds in an environment that closely resembles a natural environment where they can freely fly. And the birds also interact with the guests who come to Birds of Eden. Also have the option to go hiking and biking. You have, for example, Roberg Nature Reserve, that's well known. It's incredibly scenic and very popular. And then you also have in Tsitsikamma National Park, you have Storms River. You have the suspension bridge, numerous hiking trails, amazing vantage points where you can view all around. You also have camping facilities. And then you also have a number of water activities. You can go kayaking, zip lining, boating, tubing, and also canoeing. And then you also have the option to go whale, dolphin watching. You can swim with sharks in a big cage. You're absolutely spoiled for choice when it comes to activities. It depends on your own capacity, your budget, what you like, your likes and your dislikes. And then, of course, you have an abundance of restaurants, bars, and also chic boutiques directly in Plettenberg Bay itself. But that is Plet, and that is Tsala Treetop Lodge in a nutshell. Great place for rest and relaxation, or a place to base yourself whilst you enjoy the delights of Plet. Any questions, do let me know in the comments down below, but do subscribe so you don't miss out as we continue to Tembea Afrika.